Alright guys, what I'm going to do right now is to go through literal equations. Now, what we're going to be doing here is dealing with more variables. Now, what you may say is,
But Mr. Bauer, I don't like having one variable. Why do I want to work with more than one variable?
okay, well, let me explain why. And I'm going to explain why using a specific situation. So here we go. Consider the following. The amount of money I make depends on how many cookies I sell. I spend 20 Qatari Riyals for ingredients and make $2.50 profit for each bag of cookies I sell. Let's write an equation that shows how much money I make, gains minus costs, and we want to use B for bags and P for profit. Alright, so we'll pull out our little pen here and we'll say, okay, no matter what, I've got to spend 20 Riyals, which means I'm going to need to subtract 20. That's my costs. Okay? Now, that's the cost. Now I need to figure out how much I gain. Well, I gain $2.50 for each bag of cookies I sell. So that's 2.5. And you can just do 2.5. If you want to do 2.50, that's fine. But this is fine, 2.5. And then that's going to be multiplied times the number of bags. Now that should make sense because if I sell one bag, I make $2.50. If I sell 2 bags, I get 5. If I sell 3 bags, I get $7.50. If I sell 10 bags, well, it's just 10 times $2.50, which would be 25 Riyals. So we go 2.5b minus 20 equals our profit, right? So profit is how much money I make. All right, so we've got our equation. So let's go on. The next question is, use the equation to find out how many bags I need to sell to break even. Now, break even means that I don't make any money. The amount of money that I spend exactly equals the amount of money that I gained. We've done some questions similar to this before, so we're just going to go 2.5b minus 20, and I want 0 profit, so equals 0 instead of the profit there. And so from here I'm going to solve. I'm going to add the 20 to both sides. And I'm going to need the space later, so I'm just going to write it over here. So it'll be 2.5b equals 20. And then I'll divide both sides by 2.5 to get b by itself. And so I've got b equals 20 divided by 2.5, which is 8. So I need to sell 8 bags of cookies to break even. All right, next question. How many bags do I need to sell to gain 100 Riyals? Okay, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to go 2.5b minus 20 equals, but this time I want to gain 100 Riyals. So I don't want my profit to be 0, I want my profit to be 100. And so again, I'm going to add the 20, and then I'm going to continue from there. I'll have 2.5b equals 120, and then I'll divide by 2.5, and so I will get b equals, and that should be, well, 2.5 goes into 28 times, and there are 6 20s and 120, so that would be 48 bags. All right, next question. Gain 200 Riyals. Holy smokes, you mean I got to do that again, Mr. Bauer? Yes, you've got to do it again. So here we go again. 2.5b minus 20 equals, I'm trying to make a point here. Now, obviously, if you do this, you can work through it. You should be able to get that b equals 88. All right. Then the next question. Oh, again. Okay. Now, hopefully you get the idea that every single time I'm going to have to follow through exactly the same process. That's my next question, which is getting chopped off here at the bottom. Do you see a pattern as you work through each of these? Okay. So as I work through this question, it was exactly the same, except for this number right here was a different number each time. Now, I can't really help that. Oh, sorry, that one should have been 200. I can't really help that in these situations because this number, the amount of profit that I want to make keeps changing, and I'm solving for b. So, let's talk about a better way to do this. If you know you're looking for a specific variable most of the time, like in the last problem we were always looking for the b, we were given the profit, and so we were looking for b. That is going to become our y value, and so we'll solve for it, meaning we'll get it alone. The fact that we don't know what p is yet is fine. We'll still just be able to get b by itself. Okay? We're going to treat all the other letters or as consonants. And therefore, we can move them using our appropriate inverse operations like you have been for the last week and a half now. Okay, let me show you with the one that we just did. So the equation was 2.5b minus 20 equals p. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve for b, which means that we are going to treat b, right here, this b is our variable. Everything else is going to be considered as a number. So you may remember as you were doing this before, when we were solving these problems, we had to move everything away from our x value, from this variable that we were trying to solve for. So we're going through PEMDAS backwards, right? Using our orders of operations, PEMDAS. So I need to start with the addition subtraction. So I'll start with that. So I'll add 20. And you may say,
but I don't know what p plus 20 is.
yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. It's p plus 20. All right, so then we do the division multiplication. So this is 2.5 times b, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2.5. Like a good little algebra 1 student, I'm going to multiply everything on this side, or sorry, divide everything on that side by 2.5. That cancels out, which means that b is equal to p plus 20 divided by 2.5. And there you go. Now, the nice thing about this is that now, as they're giving me the p, all I have to do is plug it in and work it out. I don't have to rearrange the equation every single time like we did on that previous slide. Does that make sense? I can't hear you. All right, let's go on. Obviously, that's why it's helpful. We just talked about it. So let's just try a couple more, not necessarily word problems. We'll just work through the skill part of this. Okay, so we're solving for y. Solving for y means that this guy right here is the thing that we want to get by itself. All the other variables get treated as if they were numbers. Okay, so PEMDAS, anything that's being added or subtracted to the y term needs to be taken care of first. So that's this 2x. It's 2x minus 4y, so the 2x needs to move. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, which means on the left side I'm going to have minus 4y, and on the right side I'm going to have 8 minus 2x. I can't put those together because they're not like terms, and so I'm just going to show 8 minus 2x. Now I can do the division. I'm trying to get y by itself, remember. So I'm going to do negative 4. That's negative 4 times y, so I'm going to divide by negative 4. And so I get y equals 8 minus 2x divided by negative 4. Now, this is okay, but we really should reduce the fraction. If there's something that all of these are divisible by, then we should do that. Now, I note that they're all divisible by 2, so I'm going to change this to y equals. I'm going to divide the 8 by 2. I'm going to divide the negative 2 by 2, which will be minus 1x. And then the negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And that answer right there is fine, because now I've solved for x. I mean, for y. I got y all by itself. Now, again, the nice thing about this is if I'm given a whole bunch of x values, I just plug them in here and use my solving skills to do y. I don't actually have to rearrange the equation every time. Whereas in this situation, if I was given x values every single time, I would have to do all the rearranging. Okay, so there are some advantages to this, and it is helpful, especially when you're going to be getting lots of values. Okay, we're going to do a couple more just to make sure that we're comfortable with these ideas. Okay, in this case, we're solving for r, which means we need to get the things away, right? So PEMDAS, again, we're working backwards. So addition, subtraction first. Now, you see that there's an addition here. However, that is inside the parentheses. The parentheses are the last thing that we take care of. You can distribute the 4 if you want. That's all right, but I'm going to show you how to do it without. So I'm solving for r. That means this right here is my variable. Everything else needs to go over to the right side. So I'm going to do the addition subtraction first, which means I'm going to add 8 to both sides.
But I don't know what y plus 8 is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. It is y plus 8. You know exactly what it is. It's y plus 8. All right, so then we get to the multiplication division. So this is 4 times the parentheses. So I'm going to divide everything by 4. Like I say, if you wanted to, you could distribute that 4. It doesn't really matter. Divide there. You'll have r plus 3 now equals. Now, the parentheses technically could still be there, but because it's the only thing left now, we don't need the parentheses anymore. We've taken care of everything else, and so I'll have y plus 8 over 4. And then to finish this off, I still need to get r by itself, so I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides. And so r equals y plus 8 over 4 minus 3. Now, take care not to reduce this one, because the 8 is divisible by 4, but the y, we can't simplify that. We can't divide that by 4. So in this case, we're just going to leave it as it is. And so we've got this right here. R equals y plus 8 over 4 minus 3. All right? And yet another. Here we go. So this time we're going to be solving for h. So h is the thing we need to get by itself. We got some PEMDAS. Okay, now this one's a little bit sneaky because remember, everything on the top is in its own set of parentheses, which means the 2 is the first thing I got to get rid of. This is dividing by 2, so I need to do the opposite, which is multiplying by 2. So I'm going to have 2a equals, now that will cancel out the division and the multiplication, leaving me with h times a plus b. Now I've still got some parentheses here, but that doesn't really matter because I'm supposed to be solving for h. How is this thing, now definitely do not distribute this here because that's going to actually make things worse, because then you're going to have 2 h's. Right now I have exactly what I want. I have 1 h. That h happens to be multiplied by a plus b. So if that is being multiplied by this group of a plus b, how do I get rid of that? Well, you do the opposite of the multiplication, which is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by a plus b. And when I do that, I've got 2a over a plus b equals, now the multiplication division cancel out, and so I'm left with h. You can't do this with individual pieces, but this whole packet, this whole parentheses here is being multiplied by the h. If it makes you feel better, you can put this in parentheses. It doesn't change a thing, but that way you can see that you're dividing by that whole packet right there, not just by the a or the b. And there you go. Can't be reduced. That's our final answer. Now, I've got last one, which is going to be a odd one. But remember, if we think like a mathematician, these things will usually be easier. We took a lot of time in class one day talking about the 3 questions. How is it the same as what I've done before? How is it different? And then how do I make that difference now be the same? If you will remember that, and if you will apply that in each situation when you see a hard question or a question that's different, then you should be able to finish it off. All right? So here we go. This is our last one for now, a hard one. How is this different? How is this the same as what we've done before? Well, you've got some coefficients, you've got a bunch of variables, it's asking us to solve for m. So very, very similar in many ways, but what's the big difference? That's it, right? That it's asking us to solve for m, and there's 2 of them. In the previous questions, all 4 of them, including the word problem, there was always only one of the variable we were looking for. Well, how do we fix that? Well, we've got to somehow put them together, which means that we need to move everything with that variable to the other side. Now, we did this before when we were solving for x, when we were actually getting a number. So we're just going to take this km, and we're going to subtract it to the other side. And you may say, but I don't know what 3m minus km is. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't!
Yes, you do. It's 3m minus km.
Oh, I guess I do know.
Equals, and then I subtracted that, meaning I'm left with negative 8 on this side. Now, I really do only want the variables on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and add the n. Right? Now, here's the tricky part, which isn't really tricky, but it is the first time that you see it. I've got 2 m's here. How do I get those m's by themselves? I want 1 m. Well, I learned several weeks ago that if I had something like this, right, where you had those x's, that you could take a common term and you could pull it out, and you could put the common term in front and then write whatever was left over inside of a parentheses, right? We're doing the distributive property backwards. We're taking the common piece out. How could I apply that? How is this like something I've done before? Well, we're going to find that common term and pull it out. So if I pull out the m, what's left? 3 minus k. Okay, How is this like something I've seen before? The previous slide. Hopefully you took notes on the previous slide, because now you can look back at it and you can say,
Oh yeah, I was solving for that variable there, and I had that big group of packet of stuff, that a plus b, and now I can divide by the a plus b.
yes. So now we can divide by 3 minus k, because that is being multiplied by m. And if that's being multiplied by m, we can solve by dividing by 3 minus k. There you go. These will cancel out because it's little packets, right? And then you got m equals negative 8 plus n. That is definitely not an n. 8 plus n over 3 minus k. And there you go. That is the final answer. And I told you that was the last one. Good luck on your homework. Ciao.